Good day. Sounded a lot bit Australian then, didn't I?
G'day.
G'day.
G'day, mate.
Hello, everybody. Back in familiar surroundings. How is everybody today? My microphone seems to be working okay. And how about you, Louise?
Is my microphone working okay?
Your microphone?
My microphone?
Your microphone.
I've had a day off. Left my brain at home.
How's everybody? All loud and clear? Absolutely perfect. Good, good, good. Julie, we will come to you in a second. Some interesting questions coming today. So welcome everybody coming on today. Glad to see we're back in the studio, the recording studio, familiar surroundings. One thing I need to do before we go any further, before I forget, I got to try and find this. So Louise, what have you been doing? Tell us what you've been doing last week, Louise.
Last week or this week? Last week? Last week?
Last week.
If you watched last week, you'll know that last week we were in Maidstone for my Gem Lab class. So I spent 3 days with Kerry over at Gemology Rocks in Maidstone, which was an amazing 3 days. Just basically practical gemology to prepare me for my exam. And
it's okay.
Oh, is that you?
That was me. I'm just testing. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
So yes, the practical element of the course and the exam, which is packed into 3 days, and what was packed into those 3 days was absolutely amazing. And I just feel so much more confident having spent the 3 days there. And I wanted to go. Could have gone to Coventry, could have gone to Birmingham. There are closer places, but I specifically wanted to go to study with Kerry because I know she's a fabulous tutor. So yeah, that's what we did. Andrew came along for the ride, didn't you?
I came off. Yes.
I
spent my time in my hotel room.
Yeah. Being wound up by kids.
By kids and yeah.
Which was actually quite funny. I think they were doing it on purpose towards the end. I think they were like, if you're in the UK, you'll know Victor Meldrew. And I think they were deliberately
winding me up.
Yeah.
I don't think they were. I just think they were just noisy little brats.
Oh, don't be harsh. So yeah, it's been a really good week. So because I technically worked, it wasn't work, it was a pleasure being there, but because I worked last Monday, I took today off to do a bit of gardening.
Because it was bank holiday last Monday,
It was bank holiday Monday, yeah, in the UK. So, yes, so the garden now looks
fabulous.
As good as it ever looks. It's the best now, today. So from tomorrow now, it's all downhill for the garden until I get another day off.
It'll get better because we've got all the greenhouse now. Did all the tomatoes as well. Those are looking good, I bet.
Yep, they look fab.
But and of course the pressure washing of the patio I did. And
you did, yeah. We're not going to hear the end of that, are we?
And then last Wednesday, I went to visit Walsh in Biggin Hill, and that was really good. Really lovely to see Patrick Sheehan, the MD from Walsh, and to see all the boys there, and that was really good. Picked up a few bits and pieces. And just to let you know, if you're members of At The Bench and you're a paid member of At The Bench, pop along to the forum. There's a section there with discount codes. So we've got a couple more suppliers now who are offering At The Bench members, that's paid At The Bench members, discounts from their websites, which is really good. So thank you to the boys at Walsh for that. And also you can get discounts off At The Bench merch as well, because that's the other company. It's me. With a coupon code to get discounts. So yeah, so that's about it.
Great.
Anything else, Louise?
Nothing sleeps to mind. No, sleeps to mind, leaps to mind, springs to mind.
I think you've had too much time off. You need to get back, back into the swing of things, I reckon. Anything else we need to mention beforehand? Don't forget, again, paid members of At The Bench, you can be in and within all these fabulous prizes every single month, which is great. We've also got the brand new oval disc cutter coming from Durston this week as well. And I'm going to try and get Matthew to see if we can give one of those away as well. So this month, not one item that we can give away, but 2 items we can give away. Brand new disc cutter.
Are we doing the disc cutter as an At The Bench prize, or are we doing it as a general prize that anyone can enter?
I don't know. What do you want to do? I'll let you think about that.
I
just threw that upon you then, didn't I? So perhaps we can have 2 prizes at the end of the month, perhaps, instead of just the 1.
Maybe we'll have a little think.
Let's just be generous, shall we? Because what's the point of having to get another disc cutter? But we can give another one away.
How many disc cutters can one man use?
Exactly. I have 2 there already.
No need to brag.
I got 3 actually. There's yes, one down there as well. So there we go. That's about it. How's everybody doing? Excellent, excellent, excellent. Loads and loads of questions coming in. 62, no, there's 72 of you on. And I think Louise asked you to publicise this and share this Q&A with your friends and your family and everybody else.
Wherever you think
on your socials, wherever you think is appropriate.
Yeah.
Share it. Post the link. Let's get loads and loads of people on. And you'd be pleased to know that look what I've got. It's my Green Lion saw. Finally got one. Courtesy of, I get this right, I get this wrong every time. Courtesy of Wing Wo Hong Industrial Products over in Hong Kong. And that came all the way from Hong Kong for me. Little old me. Little old me. So we're going to do a battle of the saws. So we've got the Green Lion saw. We've got the New Concept saw. We've got the Grobe saw. We've got my little original Draper saw. And then we've also got the adjustable fingers. And we're going to see...
What was the last one?
The Draper,
no,
my original one.
What was the last one?
And this the adjustable saw finger. So we got Battle of the Saws. There is one saw missing. That is the haymaker. I don't have a haymaker. If any, that's a saw, by the way. So if somebody has a haymaker, and who wants to send me a haymaker, I would love to try it. So you go. Oh, that isn't going to win. I tell you that right from the start. Now that is not going to win. Adjustable saw frame. Draper, Grove, New Concepts, Green Lion, and I would like a haymaker next. So I've got a week before I do the film on Battle of the Saws. You've got a week to get me a haymaker.
Get yourself a haymaker.
Get yourself a haymaker? No, I want someone to kindly donate me a haymaker, and I'll blast them all over socials and all that sort of thing as well. So Sir... What's the gentleman's name? I can't remember his name now. Oh, Lion Punch Forge. What's the gentleman's name? Oh,
Lord Christopher.
Lord Christopher, that's the one. Lord Christopher. Did you design it? I think you did. Send me a haymaker and I'd gladly put you up against all these. Let's face it, that isn't going to win. Well, that one isn't going to win. I tell you that now, right from the start.
Why not just put that to one side though?
Because you've got to make it fair. I've got to include it into the Battle of the Swords, haven't I?
Okay.
Right, okay, so there we go. Those are the saws. We got
the adjustable one, just because. Stop the adjustable bashing. Mine works just fine. There we are.
Yeah, there are better ones available on the market. All right then.
It's what you're used to though, isn't it, I suppose?
It is. I must admit, people, they are good saws. I'm not knocking it because it's a bat. They are good saws, okay?
Which ones?
The adjustable saw frames are good saws because they do the job. They do the same job as all the other saws, okay? There are better saws available. Okay, Louise, is that about it?
I think so, yeah. Okay.
All right then, so it is the 7th of June. It is 4 p.m. It is time for our question and answer session. This is the reason why we pop on a little bit earlier so we can have a bit of a chat. So Louise, may we have our first question, please?
Yes, the first question I think may be incomplete. It just says pickle is 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 c of vinegar.
1 cup of vinegar.
Oh yeah, free clean is 50.
Is this a question?
I don't know.
Okay, so yes, you can use natural vinegar for a pickling solution and you could put some salt in there as well. That really does help. Obviously, it's not as good as the traditional, what are these things called? Safety pickle and sulfuric acid, obviously, but it is a safe alternative. So yes, absolutely right, you can use vinegar. Happy birthday for tomorrow, Paul. Congratulations.
Happy birthday, Paul.
Michael wants, I want a t-shirt with adjustable saw frames are good saws.
Somebody should make one with your face on it and the quotation marks.
Can we have steam coming out of my head? We're going to be finalising the bigger your balls, the flatter your bottom as well over the next couple of days. I'm getting that sorted this week. So we're going to get those t-shirts done as well. The bigger your balls, the flatter your bottom. So those are going to be the next t-shirts that are going to be available. And don't forget the salt. Exactly. Thank you, Tammy. You've got a question coming up, Tammy, a little bit later on about your Omega fittings. We'll come to that shortly. Right then, next question then, please, Louise.
Okay, Fiona is saying, hopefully a very simple question. I have 7 gemstones, all different shapes and sizes. I want to do a 6 claw setting for them. Which mil wire should I go for? 1 mil or 1.2 mil?
If it's in silver, how many? 6 claw? What size were they?
Different shapes and sizes.
I'd start off with a thicker. I'd go with the 1.2 because if they're all different sizes, obviously the smaller the stone, the thinner the claws can be.
There's more.
But to make life easy, just go with 1.2, yes?
She says, I also need to either make jump rings at the top to keep them steady or continue the wire to create this effect.
Continue the wire.
Or continue the wire to create this effect of the jump rings, I guess. Create the effect of the jump rings.
Right, okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Admittedly, the bearings, if you're making the claw systems, the bearings, the raised gallery, the top gallery, the bottom gallery, if you're doing 2 lots of galleries, can be that little bit thinner because they don't really need the strength. It's just literally like a cage, just a support to hold the claws. So the claws can be 1.2, the little jump rings can be 1 millimeter or even 0.8. Doesn't really matter too much. It's only there purely to hold those claws into place. Absolutely. So yes, start off with 1.2. It's going to make life a bit easier for you. Being silver, silver's going to be a little bit softer than gold, a lot softer than platinum, so they have to be slightly thicker. So definitely yes, 1.2 would be fine. Next question, please.
Shaztek is saying, just wanted to say a big thank you for your Delft clay casting video.
Good.
Under your instruction, I nailed my first cast, 14k gold signet ring. Cheers.
Nice
Yay!
one. Well done, Shaztek.
Awesome.
Good.
Well done.
Glad they helped.
Okay. Tammy is saying, does anyone know anything about assembly / soldering clip-on Omega earrings? I need to make a pair, but have never done it.
Make a pair or solder on a pair?
Assembly / soldering.
Okay,
clip-on.
yeah. All right, cool. So I wouldn't want to make them, they're just a bit too hard. So ideally what you should, I presume they come in 2 parts. So you should have the wire that does that, hence the reason why that is called Omega ear fittings. Yep. And then you should also have the other part then that does, take that off now, finish with them. The other part then that does that. Yep. Okay, so then through here you've got a hole through there. Yep, and then that's where these things fit. So ideally I would separate them. So there's either that way or me think. They may not even have those. They may just come down to that, like that, and there's a hole through here. Yeah. So either way, the best thing to do is to separate them. Okay, because the Omega fitting.
She's saying yes, and a pin.
And a pin. Yes,
Yeah.
so the pin is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the idea is you should take them apart, because if this Omega fitting here, okay, the thing that is supposed to have the tension and snap into place, if this loses its springiness, if this becomes annealed, it's not going to work. Okay, so the whole security relies upon this fitting here being really, really strong. Okay, so the idea is you take it apart, you solder this onto your earring here, okay, then you put that into place, you put the pin through, all right. What you should do first of all is ball up the end on the end whilst you can, okay, of the wire. Push the wire through so the ball ends up here. Now this is the hard bit. You've got to melt the other end, okay? Or what you could do is actually, you need your stand up. No. Oh, sorry. No, I thought you did. Or what you can do is rivet the end over, and by riveting it over, then you're not putting heat onto this area. So separate them and put them together. If you don't have a pin and it comes around like this, well then you can just force these and put these into the hole, so it goes that way. But the tricky thing is ball up the one end first, so you can be guaranteed, then put the pin through. If you've got a little Smith's little torch, you should be able to melt the end without the heat getting through to this part. But if not, cut it a little bit longer and then rivet it bigger on the end so it doesn't go back through the hole. And that's the way I would put on your Omega fittings. How was about that then? Right then, Louise. They're already
question? Apart. They're already apart.
Okay,
How is it tensioned?
How's it tensioned? That what time is asking? Because it's this. So say here's the front of the earring. Okay, so this is where that fitting goes with a little hole on the end. Okay, this it's hard for me to draw, but let me try and work this out. It's something, I can't draw this. You know when you've got it in your head and it's very hard to draw. It's the end of the wire is something like this, and there's the hole going through. And the idea is that the Omega wire is here, and when it goes down in this direction, it clicks down into that position because of the way the end where this goes through. So it clicks down into this position, and when it comes up, it'll click back into this position, but it'll only click back up if you push it, if there's a lot of tension and the ear wire has been hardened. If it hasn't been hardened and it's loose, it's not going to have that springiness in the wire to click up. But it's all to do with the oh my goodness me. Oh, my drawing today. It's all to do with this end piece that you solder onto the earring. It's this bit here that is the trick. It's these faces aren't flat. They're slightly skew-if that makes sense. It's hard for me to, I can't describe it, but that is how they work. It's those innards. I can't explain it, Louise. My brain's addled. I'm sorry, I can't explain it. But check out the fittings. But yeah, that is how they work. When the ear wire is pushed downwards, it clicks down because the tension in the Omega fitting, and when it's brought back up, it clicks back into place.
Tammy is saying that makes sense.
Oh, good, there you go. I won't dwell on that any longer.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Great.
I am sweating up here. May we have the next question, please, Louise?
Yes. Penny is saying, my flush setting is just not working without my tools. Your lovely little tool is out of stock. Are you replenishing stocks anytime soon?
We do have stocks. I must put them back on.
Don't forget. I'll remind you tomorrow.
Tonight.
I'll
do it tonight.
Okay. Fiona stones are 26mm by 16mm by 11mm.
They're big, so thicker the wire, the better.
Okay.
Definitely.
Good. What is the link you'd like posted for today's chat? Oh, just
share.
Yeah, or just the URL to the YouTube is brilliant.
Yeah, underneath what you're watching, underneath us, there should be a little share. Click on share and just click and post it. Facebook, Messenger, whatever you want to do, please. We'd absolutely love it. Thank you very much. Next question, please.
Okay. Orpha is asking, did you ever try with Delft clay to cast in place stones?
Yes.
What do you think about it?
I will find something now. I think I found it the other day. Maybe open the door.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is a bit warm, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, I was looking through the At the Bench cabinet the other day, and I have got a ring that we did.
Oh, that one, yeah. That's lovely.
And that's what we did with Delft clay stones in place casting.
What stones are they?
You tell me.
I don't know.
So, yeah, what we did, we simply got the Delft clay. I think I put like a big, heavy, round, almost like a curtain ring, but for the finger. Pushed it into the clay, scraped a little bit away to make it nice and rough. Then we got the some stones. What stones were they, Lou? Sapphires and rubies.
I would just be a guess.
Rubies, yeah. So what we did, we got these, and how close can we go on this camera? We've done this at the bench. There we go. That's a pretty good shot. So you can see, and then all I did was just scatter the stones in the bottom of the mould and just simply poured the silver in place. And as you should be able to see, how close can we go? Is that in focus? There we go. You can see how nice and rough it is, but you can also see how the stones, this little ruby here, he's holding on by the skin of his teeth. Look at him. And then all the others as well. So we did that, stones in place. It's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be exact. So you're never going to get the stones in place as you do with a lost wax casting. It's nice and rough. It's nice and organic. So yes, there should be a film on At the Bench showing how we did stones in place casting using Delft clay. Absolutely.
It is pretty. Shame it's massive. Can't wear it.
How do you make white gold? Negotiator says you need... Oh, my tummy.
Oh, your tummy?
My tummy's making noises,
Good grief.
Watch out tonight. Yes, Tom, negotiator, yeah, cool. Yeah, you're going to have to alloy it with other metals. So you have, say, 14 carat, 14 parts gold. The other 10 parts are going to be white metals that influences the colour of the gold. Absolutely. Louise looking all very important then. I missed that there. Maybe have another question, please.
Yes, let's have a look. Kenneth is trying to repair a non-pierced earring fitting with a post of 0.5 mil, but the only pearls I have managed to source are half drilled to 0.8 mil, and advice would be much appreciated.
So the post is too thin. The post is 0.3. Ideally, you should have a little bit of a gap. But so here is your pearl, and here is the hole inside, okay? So ideally the post, if the post is the same diameter as what you've got, okay? So say here is the post upon the fitting, okay? If this post was the exact size as the pearl, there's going to be no real area or surface area for the cement or the glue to attach onto, okay? So that's one thing that you don't really want, is to have a tight fit, because where's the glue going to go? If this post is the same diameter as that, what I would do is perhaps get a saw blade and perhaps just cut some little crosses. Oh, bless you again. It's just, bless you. Just cut some little crosses, roughen up the post, then the cement can go inside the grooves to cause that little bit of a key to hold it in place. But if what you're saying is the post is 0.5, so the hole here is 0.8, and your post is a little bit thinner, and that's 0.5, what I would do is either hammer it flat. So at the moment you've got the post and it's a round section post like that. What I would do is hammer it flat like that, okay? So now you've made it flat, you've made it a little bit wider to fit the hole, but you've also got a little bit of space in the hole for the cement to go into and onto to hold it into the pearl, okay? So you can do that. You can flatten it a little bit. Okay, so you flatten it a little bit like that, and then you twist it. Okay, so then you twist it. You twist the wire. Again, what you've done, you've increased the surface area, and you've also increased, put some little spaces for the post to sort of nearly fill the hole, but there's gaps for the cement. You get the general gist of where I'm going with this. Or
what type of cement? Just like araldite?
You can get some pearl cement.
Okay.
Or we don't use super glue, or you can use something like an araldite, like a 2-part epoxy resin. Or you can bend it like that, so when it goes inside here, it'll do that. Yeah. So again, it'll take up the space, but you've also got this area here that you can put the cement, and that is the best way. So in theory, the post should not be the same size, because it'll slide in and there's no space for the cement. You've got to have a little bit of space for the cement to go into to fasten the pearl on. So that's fine what you got. Hammer it, hammer and twist, or just bend it like that. Or just get a pair of round nose and squash it. So the post then, if you squash it, the post may go, you know, like a little bit, you know, yeah. It just widens it and makes it, so it doesn't slide off. There we go.
He's saying, can you use E6000 glue for jewellery?
I have no idea what E6000 is.
E6000?
As long as it's not like a one part, like a super glue, or what's the technical term for super glue?
Crazy glue? Do they call it crazy glue? Some
people do. It's the proper
E6000.
Let's see where we are. Let's put you on.
Permanently attaching stones, gems, beads. What's its?
Is it rubber cement? Yeah.
Let's have a look. How do I find the?
Don't know.
There's like a guide here.
If it's made for jewellery and it's made
jewellery and
for beads,
glue.
then I would have thought yes, you could. Dancing with Androx, that's basically, yes, cyanacrylates-ish.
So that's super glue then, is it?
We don't want a super glue.
Is that what this is?
I think a super glue is going to be, the problem with the super glue, it dries rigid. Okay, and as soon as it cracks or there's movement, it'll break. You want a little bit of a cement that has a little bit of give in it. Something like an epoxy resin has got a tiny little bit of give in it, so something like that would be, not represented, but it's kind of stringy to work with. I've used it for jewelry glass, whatever. There.
It says flexible epoxy, industrial strength glue made from a clear drying flexible epoxy that works
flexible. That's it. Super. Yeah.
Glass, ceramics, vinyl, rubber, etc., etc.
Yeah, something like that would be ideal then. Is it E6000? Yeah.
E6000.
Yeah. There we go. Something like that would be fine.
Aldite or epoxy?
Yeah, same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, you could. Yes, absolutely. No, so stone sets in glue, it dries rubberish. Good. That's exactly what you're after. Yes. Good. Well done. E6000. Remember that, and that'll come in handy. Store that up in the brain.
I'll get some of that, shall we?
Never seen it before.
No, I never heard.
Yeah, E6000. Okay. May we have our next question, please, Louise?
Yeah. Rebecca is asking how to calculate the size of an ingot to roll it out to 60 by 3 by 1 mil. Is this possible for a bangle that folds over 3 times in a sprungy that moves into itself?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you want 60 by 3 by 1. Yep. So you want, I won't know the exact formula, but what you want is that, yeah? So that's 3 by 1, and that's 60, yeah? So really, if you think about this now, so if you just want to start off with a 3 by 3 square, okay, this is very rough. You've got to take into account that when you put something through the rolling mill, it not only rolls lengthways, but it also goes a little bit wider. So if you think about this, it's 3 by 1, okay? So say you want to make this 3 by 3, in theory, cut, blah, 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 1, 2, 3. So that would end up to be 20 mil by 3 by 3, okay, for argument's sake. And then when you roll down the 3 by 3, it'll end at 3 by 1 and it'll be 60 long. Does that make sense? Because if you get a 1 mil and you cut that into 3, put one on top of the other, it'll be 3 mil square, and you divide that by 3. So that's the size you want approximately, although I would end up...
No.
No?
Rebecca, I think we're misunderstanding you, aren't we?
But what size ingot does she need?
60 centimetres. Sorry, she's just typing, I think.
Yeah.
60 centimetres by 3 centimetres. Oh, 1 millimetre. No, centimetre, sorry. Are we on the right lines, Rebecca? Is this... Yeah. I think we are.
What, like this? Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Is this what you...
So it's 60?
Is this what you had in your mind's eye, Rebecca?
So it's 60 long. So is this 60? Is this 60? And that's 1 and that's 3, yeah? Does that make, is that what you're on about? Or is that 60 centimetres as opposed to 60 millimetres?
Centimetres.
Okay, so that, okay, so
I think I stammered over the 60 and then
no, it's okay. So in that case, then that needs to be 20 centimetres by 3 by 3. Yeah, that still holds true.
I'm just going to put my head on the desk here and have a little snooze for this bit.
Okay, so if this is 3 mil, okay, you want to make that into something that is, say, 6 mil. Okay. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. So you divide that by 4, which makes 5 centimeters by 6 by 6. No,
what are you looking at me for?
Yeah, that's right, 5. 4, 5, yeah. So if you start off with an ingot, 6 by 6 at 5 centimeters, and you roll that down to 3 mil, you're effectively timesing the length by 4, which takes it to 20 centimeters. Okay, so 4, 5 to 20. Then you want to flatten that down to 1 millimeter. You're increasing the length by 3, so it'll come up with that. Obviously, you've got to remember that when you roll it through, it does go wider as opposed to longer, so that's why it ends up like that. Does that make sense? Is that what size ingot you mean? I don't know. And I couldn't tell you what weight that would be, unless you go up on Cookson and look up 6 by 6, 5 centimeters, and then you find out how heavy that's going to be. I think that's what you mean. I don't know, but that would be what you need to start off with to get that. I think so. I think that's what she means.
Let us know, Rebecca, if that's helpful, and if it's not, pop it in the chat and we'll come back.
Next question, please.
We'll come back to it if that's not what you wanted. Yeah,
absolutely.
Laura is saying, you've talked before about making sure your bench isn't too low. I'm rearranging my space after having back surgery. Oh no. How high is too high? My bench was too low before.
The benches nowadays are around about 1 metre high, about 38 inches high. I still feel that this bench is slightly too low.
Do you know what I would do? I would either...
I've lost my control for my store.
I don't know. Do you still see like a chiropractor, physiotherapist, somebody like that? The ideal would be for them to come in and see
how you work.
If they can't do that or that's not possible, I would get somebody to take some photos of you working and take the photos in or email them to your chiropractor or back specialist and get some information from them, because they'll know what your specific like medical histories with regards to your back. So I reckon they'd probably be the best people to give you some personalised advice. So that's
yes, but
so that sounds like a bit of a cop-out, doesn't it? But
well, benches come at a set height. If you buy a bench, it comes at a set height. You can also add blocks and screw them onto the legs to make it higher, because the chairs will only go. The stool that I've got now is as low as this will go, and I feel that I could still do with an extra couple of inches on the height, at least 2 or 3 inches a little bit higher, just so this area that I'm working at is a bit more sort of mid-chest. You know, there's, do you know what I mean, across from here to here, it could go a little bit higher, and that's where I feel, right in the sternum by here, so I feel this bench could be a little bit higher. You need 60 by 3 centimeters by 1 millimeters. Okay, I'll come to that in a minute now. So yeah, that's what I would do. I would, as Louise said, yes, get your chiropractor, but the important thing is to keep the back straight. You mustn't be hunched over this way. Try and keep a straight back.
But I just think particularly if
you do
Laura's
have back
undergone some
problems.
surgery.
Hey, whoa, what's happening, Louise?
Ooh,
we've got this going off.
It's come up on my screen.
It's spinning around. Do we have anything coming in?
No, I don't think so. I've not noticed anything.
I can't.
Make it stop.
Make it stop. I can't stop it, Louise.
Sounds like it's going to take off.
There. Whew. Thank you for that.
Laura, yeah, I would. Laura's saying the bench might be too high. It won't adjust down, and my chair is as high as it goes.
But yeah, but traditionally, I think you don't know. Traditionally, you should be sat and you should be working at this sort of height.
But that might not suit Laura now.
Exactly.
So that's why I just think
to get some advice.
Yeah, even if you can get somebody like a professional to come and look, or somebody who knows your medical history, definitely. That's probably part of the aftercare, actually, making sure that you're looking after your back.
And your ergonomics is all looking good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. Okay. All right.
There are consultants that will do ergonomic assessments. We have them in my office. Oh, that's good. Perhaps I should have an ergonomic assessment.
I can't even say it, Louise.
Ergonomic, I just said it, all right.
Right, should we get back to this? You need... Oh, so this is... Right, okay, so if it's 3 centimetres, so that's... What was the question? What ingot do you need to start out with?
Hang on. Wondering how to calculate the size of an ingot to roll it out to 60 centimetres by those. I don't want to read the...
By 30 centimetres. You can't...
Wait a minute.
How you can't roll something at 30 centimetres, 30 millimetres.
60 centimetres by 3 centimetres by 1 centimetre.
So 60 centimetres by 3 centimetres by 1 millimetre.
Yes, sorry, yep. This doesn't help that I'm getting it all wrong, does it? 60 centimetres by 3 centimetres by 1 mil.
Right.
Yes. Does that make it better or worse?
Worse. So it's 600 by 30 by 1. All right, so we've got a... If we got to make that 30, we got to divide... Way! Good enough again, Louise. Hey! Thank you so much. You are Martin.
Thank you, Martin.
There we go. There's Louise's little thingy. There it goes there. It's a bit noisy, isn't it, today?
Why is it?
I don't know. I should fasten it down, shouldn't I? Thank you, Martin. Appreciate it. Okay, I got to try and turn the thing off now. Andrew, turn that thing off. It's the bat phone. That's our man Flint, wasn't it? Okay, so you've got to increase that. So times that by 30, divide that by 30, which has got to be 20 then, isn't it? So it's 20 centimetres by 3 centimetres by 3 centimetres. Please help me here, Louise. Is this right?
I'm just typing. I am.
That's
actually.
one. So that's
no, it's,
30.
hang on, no. It's...
So 30 into 600 goes 20.
What are you doing?
Right. 3 centimetre cube. So that's 3 centimetres. That's 30 millimetres.
You know, you're still on me.
Pardon?
You're still on me.
Am I? Oh, sorry. I can't. I don't have eyes in the back of my head. So that's 30.
Oh, hang on. No, she's saying no.
60 centimetres by 3 centimetres.
Put 30.
60 centimetres by 3 centimetres by
1 mil.
1 mil, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was right, yeah. So 600 millimetres by 30 millimetres by 1. You've got to translate everything back down into millimetres.
Okay.
Yeah. So to make a 1 millimetre 30 millimetres, you've got to divide that by 30. So you've got 20, so that's what you've got to start off with. Because if that's 30, you've got to times that by 30, which makes 600, yeah. So that has to be 30, that has to be 30, and that has to be 200. So that's 3 centimetres. Why are you working in centimetres, man? So that's 3 centimetres, 3 centimetres, 20 centimetres. And that's as far as I'm going. That should work. Absolutely.
Let's take this over to the forum, shall
Let's
we?
And if you're a member of At The Bench, pop on to atthebench.com/forum. Please put something up there and we'll all happily discuss it to our heart's content on the forum. Thank you.
Well, you say, well, I won't. That's maths.
It's maths. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Okay, sorry, I was just... All right, Claire is saying, I'd like to know Andrew's thoughts and advice on making end caps from sterling silver for Viking knits, etc. As all the ones I've found ready-made are plated and I'd like to give this a go.
The easiest way to do that is to get tubing of the right diameter. It's a case of tubing of the right diameter to fit over the over your knitted, you know, whatever it is, what you want to call it. you have a piece of tubing that will go over, and there's your tubing like that. So that fits inside the tubing. Several ways you can do this. You can simply put a cap on the end. So get yourself a disc cutter, punch out a disc, or just solder a sheet here, and then you've got your tubing on the top, and you could do a few of these in one go, couldn't you really? You could do that and then cut them out. So you've got a cap over the end and then solder a jump ring on the end like that. You can do it that way. What is quite nice is that if you can fit that into an adjustable chuck, something like like one of these. Where's it gone? There we go. Which is the Fordham Jacobs chuck. If it can fit in here, then as that is spinning, you can get a burnisher on the end of the tubing, and you can burnish the tubing into place. So here's your tubing. You put your burnisher into place here, and what will happen as this is rotating, yeah, this can be burnished, and you can burnish this down to make like a bullet end, so there's no solder. Then you simply add a jump ring onto the end of there. That's a nice way, because this end now is nicely rounded. There's no solder joint, whereas with this way, you have a solder joint. Two solder joints, the jump ring and the cap that goes on the end. So you can spin it in your Jacobs chuck as it's spinning, burnisher, and you can burnish the end closed. And that's a nice way of producing a nice simple end cap. Although you have a little dot in the middle where the hole is, but then you can solder the jump ring right over that absolutely brilliantly. Or do it that way. So those are the best ways of doing it. I'm starving, Louise. May I have a next question, please?
Yeah, going back to the very, very first question that we had.
Pickle?
122, yeah. My pickle is 2 sea salt, 1 cup of vinegar.
Yes.
Pre-clean is 50% distilled water, 50% isopropyl.
Yes.
Flux is borax
Borax.
/ distilled water into a paste.
Yes.
What am I missing? Thanks, love. Is Monday Q&As.
Okay, I don't worry about like a pre-clean. That's about it. You need borax. We use, this is a borax, haven't used it. Borax cone, you can mix it up. We use normal water here. We don't use distilled water because our water is pretty good, but yet distilled water you can do. Mix that up into a paste. That is your flux. And the pickle is right. I don't know what you're missing, to be honest. I think that's exactly what you should be doing. If you want to use a pre-clean, I wouldn't use the isopropyl. I wouldn't even worry about that. If you want something to clean, pre-clean it, you may want to just warm it up and put it into the pickle to get it nice and clean. Then you can swish it around in a little bit of water to get rid of the vinegar. That's all you need, and then you should be able to solder from there. Absolutely fine. No worries at all with that. There we go. Next question, please.
Okay, Amco is asking about your green line saw frame. How do you resize it?
You don't. The green line saw frames are the same, all the same size. You don't need to resize it. It is a fixed frame, and just have from there to there. We don't use adjustable saw frames. It's a fixed frame. You don't resize. Although the handle's quite big. The handle's quite chunky. So I think you're going to need quite big hands for the handle. Maybe I have to just zoom in on this one here. There we go. The handle's quite big. I feel the handle, it's not rounded. It's sort of rectangular. It does fit quite nice. Perhaps it'll aid the direction of cutting, perhaps, because then you can feel that and you always know that's going straight. Whereas with some of these, because you can have it, that feels exactly the same as that, it feels exactly the same. So perhaps that won't be as good as that. Only time will tell. And I've done no piercing today, so I can't tell you how it's going to go. But I will certainly let you know. Don't forget, haymaker I would like. Next question, please, Louise.
Okay. Annie is saying, I've never done rivets. Do I need any special tools for success?
The only thing that you need is a hammer, is a decent hammer, preferably with a mushroom head. Something that, like David, thank you very much indeed. I really do appreciate it. I don't know, it's not going. Should we set it going? I can't get my phone to go now, Louise. What's happened to my phone? There was a new iOS. There's a new iOS, what's my chorus? There we go. Woo, woo, woo.
Thank you, David.
Thank you. There's a new iOS update, Louise, as well. It helps you open your phone with a mask. Not actually with a mask, but if you've got a mask on, you can open your phone.
I think I'm going to upgrade my phone anyway.
Do you want my cast-offs?
No.
Joking. Okay. You want one with like a rounded ball end on the hammer, because what you need to do is that where you've got the piece of metal and you want to rivet it, if you have like a ball peen hammer, as you hit it in this direction, it's going to slightly mushroom the head, and that's what you want. You can use a cross pane, which is more of a chisel, but I find a little mushroom head like that, because then here's your metal. As you hit the metal, bang, 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 here, it gently pushes the metal out in all this direction, and it'll actually end up slightly bigger, and it'll take on that sort of shape, because you hammer the edges as opposed to the center, and then the piece of metal should actually go into that shape like that by hammering it in that direction. So you can hammer on the edge here, this direction, it'll mushroom over the end, hammer over here, it'll mushroom over the end that way. So no special equipment. Perhaps you would need a little vise to hold the wire in. Perhaps I would advise on a little vise like that to put your bit of metal in. Then you can get your ball peen hammer and then tap all the way around the outside edge. So here's your piece of wire, and then you'd hammer all the way around the outside edge, all the way around, and that would help mushroom the head out. No special equipment, just what you've got usually. Maybe have a next question, please, Louise.
Yes, Janet is saying, I don't want to ruin my charcoal block. Can I use either air dry clay Fimo or dry polyfiller to form ingot shape, or pushed in shell shapes and melt in silver scrap into the shape?
Polymer clay you won't, because polymer clay will burn. You can use polyfiller, exactly right. You can use that, you can mould that. It's only going to be... Oh. Jules, thank you very much indeed. My thingy majiggy's not going off now, Louise. Why isn't it going off? There we go, super chat, duper doos. It's a bit noisy, that, isn't it? Oh, thank you very much, Jules Haynes. Thank you very much. Do appreciate that. Thank you. I'll go and order one now tonight. Thank you. I do appreciate it. What are we talking about now? Brain's gone.
Charcoal block.
Charcoal
Fimo.
block. Yes. Fimo. No, that's going to burn. Investment powder like a plaster of Paris or polyfiller, something like that would be absolutely fine. What you're going to have though is it's only going to last you 1 or 2 goes, because the heat is going to break and burn it up. You're better off just buying a small little cast iron ingot mold. What are they going to be? About $20 maximum on that. Use something like that. That's about it really. Oh, you can carve into all these sort of blocks if you wanted to. You can carve into them. If you carve a groove into your charcoal block, it's not going to last you a long time, because the charcoal sort of burns away. So just buy yourself perhaps either a fixed mold that's like this, and it has these shapes in them, and here's the handle, yeah, something like that, and then you can pour the gold into here, these areas, okay, so something like that. Or you can buy these I could be a cartoonist, couldn't I? Look at that. Or you can buy these type of molds, yeah, where you pour the molten metal into the holes to make round or half round. But get yourself an ingot mold. It's going to be far, far better, far, far easier than trying to play around with bits of investment or polyfiller or polycell, whatever it is you're actually doing. Shirley, Dan Musselwhite, he hasn't come back to us yet. Wrong camera, there we go. We haven't interviewed Dan yet. He was supposed to come back to us last week. We were away for most of last week, and I know Dan has been very busy, so we're going to try and get in contact with him again this week. So it's Dan and Hugo are the only two we haven't done from All That Glitters. I don't think we're going to get Hugo. He's not doing any interviews, so Hugo we're not going to manage, I don't think, but Dan, we must get Dan on this week, and then we can sort all the place out, because the place is an absolute tip, isn't it, Louise?
It really is.
It really is. Maybe have another question, please, Louise.
Yes. Dylan is asking for helpful tips for smelting and pouring. What are you laughing at?
I'm just reading what you just said now.
Helpful tips for smelting and pouring a 3 to 5 ounce strip ingot for lots of wire stock, steel ingot strip mould. Okay, so first of all, I wouldn't bother to try and make one huge piece of an ingot. I would make lots of smaller individual ingots, and from then roll them out to make your various thicknesses. There's not much point trying to do 150 grams, 5 ounces, because for a start, you may be able to roll it out, but you won't be able to draw it out. Your draw bench is only a certain length unless you put the clamp back up onto the wire and pull it through. So I would always make small, perhaps 20 grams, 25 grams max, little ingots. Because if one ingot isn't quite right, you can melt that back down. If you melt down a huge ingot and you're rolling it out and you get loads and loads of cracks, it's the whole ingot ruined. But if you can do small little ingots, you can be guaranteed a pretty much perfect result every time on a small little ingot. 10, 15, 20 grams max. I wouldn't have anything more than that. Ingot mould, you should be able to, what I would do, we were talking about these sort of moulds, weren't we? Yeah, upon our ingots. Yeah, so we were talking about these, weren't we? So these are ideal, and sometimes these go the whole length. If you want to make sure you get nice, short, stumpy, nice, full ingot, get yourself a little bit of tissue paper and put your moistened tissue paper in the area here, so the gold will only fill up that amount of area. I often do that, and that works pretty good. Melt it down. The problem you've got, you melt down a huge bit of metal, you've got to pour it in one go. So you can't just pour it and stutter and go, and pour a little bit further, because as the metal cools, it's going to cool in little areas, little pockets, and then when you roll it out, you're going to have loads and loads of problems. So this reason why I would always pour them in, let's say 20-25 grams maximum, because you can heat up that little bit of metal, you can heat up the ingot mold to the right sort of temperature, so these little ingots will be consistent. If you have a whole huge space, something like this, I know there was a guy messaging me the other day, he wanted to pour out masses of silver in one go, and he tried, 5, 6, 8 times, and he could never get the pour, because by the time he poured here and poured all the way along here, it was cooling and cooling, and you didn't get a nice even heat, and also all the ingot cooling down at the same time. Obviously, if you're in a foundry and you're pouring steel, all this remains molten and then it all cools down. But as you pour it out, as you're pouring it out, the metal's cooling as it goes along, and you're not going to get consistent results. So little ingots, heat up, superheat, heat it higher than what it should be when it melts, because as you pour it, the metal is going to cool as soon as you take the flame off it. Lots of ways we can do this. Check out on YouTube if you're not an At The Bench member, because there's some films on there on melting ingots, rolling sheets, rolling wire, and drawing wire down. If you remember At The Bench, there's loads of films. Next question, please. Paul is asking, can you use the artificial asbestos blocks instead of charcoal blocks for round bottoms?
Yeah.
And as an area to cast some silver gold into?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, of course you can, yeah. Although it's a little bit on the grainy side. Lee was with us on Thursday last week from All That Glitters, and he was making up some little gold balls. He was using a charcoal block, and I said, well, why don't you use one of your little soldering blocks, because you can get pretty much the same sort of effect. The problem was, and what he found was, even though you may get a little ball burr and put a ball burr into these little soldering blocks, it's rough, it's not going to be smooth, and also when the metal cools down it really sticks to the blocks as well, and that's what Lee was having a problem with, so he reverted back to his charcoal block. Next question.
Maiko is asking, my son plans on being a jeweler. Besides watching off the bench, at the bench, should he just work for a jeweler or should I send him to classes? We found some that are 3 weeks, 5 days long. Then look for a jeweler to work for. Is it normal for jewelers to send people to classes or learn on the job? He just graduated high school here in the US.
Okay, so you check out the All That Glitters interviews that we've been doing, because we asked the contestants, the jewelers, how did they get into jewellery? And I think everyone was different, wasn't it? There's all different ways.
There's no one right way, is there? And
no.
But obviously all the All That Glitters jewellers are UK based.
Yes. Because Naomi said that she went and just made tea, start off and swept the floor and worked her way up. Obviously she's still a trainee, but that's what she did.
But she also did a degree in, what did she study? She studied, I can't remember what she studied now.
Don't know, I can't remember now. It was a while ago, sorry.
Yeah.
But there's loads of different ways.
But it's not, you don't need a degree necessarily, do you? Or,
no, no. I think Tamara did an arts degree. Sunny just bought the tools off eBay and started making rings. So there's no good or there's no right, there's no wrong way. A lot of people.
It depends on how he learns, doesn't it? If he learns, is he self-motivated? Can he rely on materials on the internet, or does he need? I'm a bit more. I don't know. I think I'm a bit of both. I like to be shown something
and then go away and do it.
And go away and do it, and then perhaps get a little bit more feedback. Yeah. So I think this is.
I think
it's a toughie, isn't it?
You can't beat hands-on experience. You can look at all the YouTube films, all the films on At the Bench. You can read all the books. You have the knowledge in your head, but you don't have the practical experience. And I think if you can understand it in your head and know what you've got to do, but then you can apply that then to the peg and to the work in front of you and work through it. But you can't say, well, I've been reading books for 4 years, I'm an expert at piercing out. It's the practice, isn't it?
It's like everything, isn't it? It's like when I did my degree, I didn't leave college a good business manager, did I? Because I didn't have any experience. No. You have to combine the sort of education and the experience, don't you?
Exactly.
And I think you've just got to be prepared to have lots of frustrating mistakes, haven't they?
Yeah. It's not really a mistake. It's
not
all,
mistakes, but learning. Yeah, sorry, not mistakes.
Yeah. You're going to learn, you're going to slap loads of blades, you're going to melt things, there's so many things that you're going to make an error.
Frustrating
and then you learn
learning opportunities, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no such thing as mistakes.
So I can't say there's a definite way, but if he works and he works better hands-on, just knock on all the doors, see if he can work in a workshop, even just to make the tea, watch people working and say, oh, can I have a go at that, and so forth. And yeah. But I don't think you can come out of university or whatever with a degree and go, bam, there's my job halfway up the ladder. You can't. You've got to start at the bottom, and it's all the experience.
It's useful to go. Obviously, it's amazing if you can have an education like that. We're not poo-pooing it. It's just, it's not necessarily the be-all and end-all, is it? Because you have to gain the practical experience as well. But don't forget, if you're an At the Bench member, or if he's an At the Bench member, he'll get direct advice on projects from Andrew.
Yes.
So he can approach Andrew with questions. Whatever, if he gets stuck on a project, approach Andrew independently at the forum. So obviously he's got the forum and everybody on the forum, and they will help and advise. If he doesn't want to do that publicly, he can just approach Andrew, and that's the benefit of being a paid member of At the Bench as well.
It is very good. Very good answer. EK Esther just mentioned about a rawhide mallet. Just bought one, but it does leave marks on the metal. How can I make it sort of smoother? Thanks. But what a lot of people do, they will bash it against a stone wall or a patio. This is a hammer, and you can see the face. The face is hard. Don't get me wrong. It is hard, and some people will try and soften it You're never going to get it soft. You may remove the vinyl or the the varnish off the face. So get yourself a patio or a stone wall and start bashing your mallet against it, and that will try and soften it, but be careful you don't get any metal. Andrew, sort yourself out. Make sure you don't get any stone or any grit impregnated and stuck into the face of the mallet, because then it'll be hit and forced into the metal. So yeah, just use it. Just get some scrap rings, get some metal and start bashing it. But as I said, it'll never become soft. It'll always be hard. Perhaps you're banging the ring far too hard, perhaps. Don't know your own strength, Esther. Who knows? Maybe have another question, please.
I was just messaging
okay,
Michael
cool.
about, but I may as well just say it now. What did you say? Yeah, we were saying about the forum, and in terms of like career development and progression, there are people on there from all over the world in the US who would be able to help you with
Absolutely.
kind of like, perhaps we should have a little page on the forum, professional development, where people can post their experiences. And again, it's probably, would it be helpful though, because they're all going to be so different, but it's kind of like hacks and hints and tips maybe of things that people have found successful, and then you can read it and go, oh, is that for me? Yeah, that's, worth,
let's try that.
That's worth a try. Maybe a page.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that's nothing. It's not just advice from Andrew, it's advice from
everybody else, exactly.
people who are maybe in your area,
exactly,
or at least your country.
Some people say that they should soak a leather mallet. Why? You don't. It doesn't need to be soft. The leather has to be hard, otherwise it's not worth having. So, Debbie, that's my tummy again.
Is that your stomach?
It's like cats meowing in my
your phone
tummy.
Vibrating.
No, it's my stomach again.
What did you eat?
I had a gammon and cheese roll.
Did you? Oh dear.
Gorgeous, but it's having a problem with my stomach at the moment.
Okay, it's
So you don't need, I've never known anybody need to soften the head. It is supposed to be hard. It's the varnish that I think may be the problem, but the more you use it, the more it'll become a little bit forgiving when you hit the metal. Some people don't like rawhide mallets. Some people will use a dead blow rubber mallet. It's a personal choice. I've always found the rawhide mallets absolutely brilliant, and I've used nothing else. Some people do use the nylon faced hammer. Some people say it's better, but it's personal preference. It depends on how you use the tool. That is what I say. What is a gammon roll? Gammon, gammon ham.
Yeah,
cut
like
off.
thick ham.
Thick ham, yes.
Yeah.
Kind of thick ham. That's it. In a bap.
A bread roll.
Roll. It was a bread roll. It was a wholemeal bread roll, or it was a granary.
Was
so
it?
Perhaps it's having a bit of an effect on my.
Okay,
don't need
enough
to
of
know.
that.
Next question, please, Louise.
Right. I didn't think you were going to have another one, but okay. Gillian is asking, can you tell me the best way to make a spinner ring smaller?
Now, funny you should mention this, because we've got a problem. Because we made one last week and we made it to the correct size.
Oh, is it my lady?
Yes.
Yeah.
We made it to the size that she wanted, but it has to be made a size or two smaller. Now, the problem is, this is the problem. Because you flare the ring, and here's we did like a twisted wire down the center. The problem is, there's a sequence of events to make the ring, okay? So you would make the ring, you would put the spinner over it, and you flare it. Brilliant. You cannot make that smaller in a simple way, because what you've done, you flared it, haven't you? So you can't necessarily unflare. The problem that you've got, you're going to have to cut off the center spinner, cut that, take that off. I don't know how you would do that. Perhaps you would pass a saw blade underneath diagonally, because you can't do it this way because the spinner doesn't come high enough. You're going to have to do that diagonally, or heat up the center band to desolder it. Okay, so the solder comes undone. Then you've got to cut and take a piece out of the main spinner, cut a piece out, resolder it. The problem you got then, you're going to have to cut and take the same amount of size out of the spinner, put it around the already concave ring that you've made smaller, and then you've got to try and solder it whilst it's in place. That is the tricky thing. You can use something like a third hand to hold it, because then what you've got to do then, you've got to hold it. So you've got the spinner ring here. Can't even draw it today. So use your spinner. You've got to try and keep the distance between the ring and the inside of the spinner separate, so you can solder this area without the solder flowing down and whatchamacallit, thingamajiggy, what's it, and soldering onto the spinner ring itself. Yes, we've got to do that.
I did wonder, because she brought it back and said, well, was I there?
I think she brought it back on end of the week Saturday, I think she did.
Oh, did she? I know she felt loose, and I think we just said, see how you go with a little bit, but yeah, I had a feeling she'd come back.
Yeah, or simply make another ring and use that one for stock. You could also do that.
Yeah.
Which is twice the price, and you've got one for stock. The thing, the problem is the fact that the ring will go on nice and easy because it's nice and smooth on the inside. So perhaps we should make them a size smaller.
So if we take the size when the customer comes in,
yeah.
Is it down to you then to size that down to account for the flare?
Yeah, I think we should, yes. Because even though that ring went on the mandrel at the right size, because the inside is nice and smooth as opposed to a flat band, I think you could make the allowance and make it about a size smaller. You could tip a Tipex on the ring, Julian, yes, absolutely, or whatever you want to do to stop it soldering.
Is that your tummy?
My tummy's again.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, it's not easy, it's technical. May we have another question, please? My poor tummy, Louise. Louise.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I love the difference of words between the US and UK. Since watching At the Bench, I've adopted quite a few new words into my vocab. Love hearing my hubby say, what?
What? Oh, brilliant. Okay. Where are we? This is Lee. Other than a ring stretcher, what is the best way to make a shank made from a D-shaped wire with a curve on the inside bigger? Hammering on ring mandrel messes up flat outer.
It does.
So what's the best way?
Inside ring stretcher. There is no other way. You can buy. You can buy small upright ring stretchers. You pull the handle like that, and the mandrel goes up, and the mandrel opens up like that and stretches the ring. Okay, with the handle, you can get almost like hand-operated one, or hammer-operated ones, and it's like a stepped. How can I draw this? My drawings are atrocious today. Like that. Oh my God, Andrew. It is a stepped mandrel, okay, like that. And this is split, that's split, and that's split that side. You put the ring on and you hammer on top of there, and it'll actually open up. And these are quite cheap. You can buy them in all the tool companies. It's like a wedding ring stretcher. You can do it that way. You put the ring on it, whether it's stepped or whether it is just simply tapered like that, and that is split into 4 sections like that. You slide the ring on, and as you hammer, there's a cone shape in the top here. As you hammer this down, that opens up and it'll stretch the ring. Nice and cheap as chips. That would be the only way to get it. As you say, use the D section on the other way around. You're going to mess up the flats. Last question, I think, please, Louise.
Okay.
Sorry, did I throw that at you then?
Yes. Okay, we did that one.
I love seeing everybody's benches on the forum.
Yeah.
I love seeing people's benches. We want to see more of that. Don't forget there's also the suppliers, tools, discount vouchers on At the Bench forum as well. And don't forget, at the end of this month, we're going to be giving you prizes just for being a paid up member. So keep an eye on that. Next question. Last question, Sylvia. Last question, please.
Sorry, I just jumped.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's this silly computer.
Oh, I'm going to need a new one.
I'm just going to go freestyle and just
do it, baby. Do it.
Yes.
Freestyle.
And then flanks out.
Freestyle, baby.
Oh, no, that's
Will
not
you
a
ever
question.
stop?
Let's just go to the end.
Romy, you want V-necked t-shirts? I think I can get V-neck t-shirts.
Oh, yeah, that would be nice.
What, you want V-neck t-shirts?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That'd be nice.
Okay, I'll look into V-neck t-shirts. Okay. Nick, that didn't excuse you from the last question.
Okay.
Sorry.
David has joined at the bench. Yay!
Yay! Thank you, David. I just saw your monthly come in. Thank you very much, David. Really do appreciate it.
Say hi on the forum, David. We'll welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, yeah, Dan's video is on the way.
Yes.
Let's see.
Sandra
Sandra doesn't use a Soldrite pad. Looking at them on Rio right now, what's the difference between hard and soft?
I've no idea.
Okay, another question. What causes, this is 122, what causes a brittle bond? I heat and quench to work the 14K, but when bent to test it breaks.
Yeah, you don't want to quench it. You don't want to quench it. You want to heat it up and let it cool gradually, because by shocking it, by quenching it, you're causing all the atoms and molecules to go wah, like that.
Is that what they do?
Wah! Yeah, they go wah, like that, and they become brittle like this, brittle. Ah. What you want to do is to heat. You're laughing at it.
You're such a nerd.
Thank you. What you want to do, it's like a kneeling, isn't it? You anneal it. As you work the pieces, they go, they become really crunched, and then when you anneal them, they go, It's like that when you anneal. If you use any sort of white material, white metals, you never should quench them from hot because they are too brittle. It affects the metals. It won't affect the gold, but it affects the alloys, okay? So it's the other metals within the alloy that become brittle. So just heat it, let it air cool. And all the molecules will go, oh. Then put it in the acid to clean it, okay? But it's it's the shock that causes them to become brittle. You don't notice it because it's molecular.
If you listen very carefully next time, then you might hear it. Oh.
Exactly. That's it.
Okay, one more.
Oh, one more.
Ines has made delicate earrings of 1 mil gold wire. How can I work harden them? Burnisher?
Yep.
I didn't say burnisher.
Burnish them on a steel block if you possibly can.
Yeah.
Yes. What sort of earrings?
I did see further down, I think they were creoles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the earring post, but the whole earrings, creoles with a pearl attached.
Okay, yeah. So it is awkward to make earrings of a 1 mil that are going to be substantial enough to withstand the bending and so forth. Perhaps you should think about perhaps something a little bit thicker if you cannot get that tension into them. But a burnisher on a steel block, just burnisher, whether it be with a steel burnisher or an agate burnisher. Some people say put it into a barrel polisher. The problem with that is the hardness only goes down like 1/100 of a millimeter. It doesn't go all the way through the metal. It only does the very, very edge of the surface. But if you burnish it with a burnisher, you're actually physically pushing down the metal. And you should get a better springiness about it. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that it, Madeira?
I think so.
There we go. I think we should leave it at that. It is now 5:10. We've been going for an hour and 15, something like that. Do appreciate all the donations in today. I should be ordering my haymaker saw. If I don't get any notifications tonight saying there's one on the way, I will.
You're so cheeky.
If you don't ask, you don't get, Louise.
You're a very cheeky boy.
You don't ask, like in Walsh. If you don't ask, you don't get. Thank you, everyone. Dylan, you've been a great help. Thank you very much indeed. Love all the videos. Thank you so much. Your burnish. Let us know how it goes in this. Absolutely. It's been a galvanising day. It's a nice word, isn't it? Galvanising.
I just hope my dad's not watching because he's probably screaming at the computer.
Why?
Because of the mess we made over Rebecca's question.
I think at the end of the day, I think I got that
Yeah,
spot.
got there eventually.
Eventually we got that right. Whether it's any good, I don't know, but there we go. But don't forget, as you roll, it also widens slightly. There is a formula to work out how far something will roll if you take it through. I don't know what that is at the moment. Penny, I will make sure those burnishes go on there tonight whilst Louise is cooking the tea tonight. I will get that sorted out. Out to the garage, the torch Watts. You're more than welcome, Jules. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're off now to... It's a lovely day, isn't it? It's lovely out there.
We'll just have dinner in the garden, I think.
We'll have dinner in the garden.
It looks nice for 5 minutes.
Before the sun goes behind the trees. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Louise, anything you'd like to say?
No, thank you all for joining us.
We will see you all next week, the 14th of June. Special date the week after, 21st of June.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why is the 21st of June?
It's summer solstice.
And...
You asked me to marry you.
I did.
On the longest day.
So everyone take care. Everyone take care. We will see you all next week for another question and answer. Yeah, Battle of the Saws. I am missing one saw. It's the Haymaker. If you're watching, love one. Thank you.
Bloody buy one then.
Go and buy one, you tight bugger. Take care. We will see you all Monday. Say goodbye, Louise.
Goodbye. See
you next Monday. Everyone take care. I'm going to fade to black because we haven't got any slides going with me at the moment. No. Fade to black. Everyone, take care. Thank you for all the donations. Really do appreciate it. We will see you next week. You missed my question. Did I do something wrong? Julie, what was your question? Julie, what was your question? Quick.
Hang on. Let me control and find Julie Hafferden. Julie, there's no question.
What was your question, Julie? Quick, before we go.
There's no Julie. We've only got one. I've just controlled and found Julie, and you're the only Julie in the whole stream that appears this once.
You've got 10 seconds, Julie.
I don't think your question, unless you asked it before we came on.
Julie, acorn. Yes, you're quite right. Okay, very quick. You can't. The only way you can make the acorn is the way that Sunny did it on All That Glitters. Okay, you've got your domium block, with a hole. All that Sunny did, he got the hole a lot smaller than what he should have had, and had the disc that went on top. So if you have an exact round, you'll get perfect hemispheres. But if you go back and watch All the Glitters on when they did the lockets, it says he shows how he did it. You've got to be really quick. But you use a disc of metal bigger than the hole. You get a smallish punch in the middle, and you punch down inside the bigger hole, and by doing that it'll force the metal down and into it, and it'll make more of that sort of shape. Okay, and then obviously the smaller the hole, the more you push down, it's going to bring the sides up that way. It's going to mark the metal, so you've got to make sure the metal is quite thick. If you use too thin a metal, it'll rip, it'll tear, and if you try and buff it and get all the marks out, it is going to go all the way through. So it has to be at least around about 1 millimeter, okay? So big hemisphere, small dome, big bit of metal, and just practice. Do it with some copper first of all. There we go. Let's go.
Okay.
Louise, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
See you next week. See you Monday, 14th of June. Take care. Have a lovely week. Bye for now.